I want one kid to be favored over another kid in terms of ownership of the
You'll
farm.
never believe the truth about Matt Roloff selling the farm to Zach. It's no secret that Matt Roloff has been trying to sell a portion of the family farm, and he recently listed 16 acres of the 109-acre farm for $4 million. But even though he's been ready to sell those acres for a while now, he's not happy that part of the Roloff farm will be owned by someone outside the family. And he's not the only one, because Matt and his son Zach have had a pretty big falling out over the sale. And it's honestly kind of weird because they both want the same thing, for the farm to stay in the family. Zach really wanted Matt to sell it to him, and Matt wanted it to go to one of his children. So why didn't Matt sell those 16 acres to Zach? Well, it's all about the money, really. I mean, Zach did want to buy the farm, but he wasn't willing to pay those $4 million, and he allegedly offered his dad a much lower number, and this number was based on a 2016 appraisal of the farm when Matt and Amy were getting divorced. And obviously, you can imagine what the problem here is, because Zach clearly didn't account for the crazy inflation that has happened since then, and especially after the pandemic, and his offer was probably way too low, and Matt would be losing a lot of money if he went with it. And we don't really know how much Zach actually offered Matt for the farm, but since Amy was bought out of her portion of the property for $1 million, we can assume that that's, what Zach's offer was, which, if that's true, that's just way too low. Like, that's literally 4 times less than what the farm is actually worth. So it makes total sense that Matt turned the offer down, right? I mean, why would he agree to lose that much money? But even though, Matt's response to that low offer seems pretty reasonable, Zach didn't take it well, and he got really upset with his dad and tried to manipulate him into selling it to him anyway. And he told Matt that he should sell it to him so that they could keep, they could live on the same property as his grandkids. And he could kept saying these things like, what's the price of having your grandchildren so close, and all this crazy stuff. And it just came across as super weird and entitled and kind of just immature of Zach. And I mean, family is one thing, but this is still mainly a business decision, right? And he can't have really expected Matt to agree to that ridiculously low price. I mean, that would have been insane. So now Matt's listed the 16 acres for $4 million, which is what the portion of the farm is actually worth. And even though Zach obviously doesn't think so, which is still just so bizarre to me. So, I mean, Jerry and Audrey just bought their own piece of land for $1.5 million, and that was for 4 acres. And their new farm is pretty much in Matt's backyard. So if you do the math, Matt isn't even asking for that much with his $4 million. Now, what's odd is that when Matt announced he was going to sell that portion of the farm, he said that he had listed it because Zach and Jeremy weren't interested in buying. And obviously, Zach was interested in buying. And so that comment from Matt seems kind of weird. But then again, maybe Matt meant that Zach wasn't seriously interested in buying those acres, because that offer surely couldn't have been serious. But anyway, it's not like Matt didn't try negotiating with Zach. Even his realtor, Julie Martin, said that the kids were offered the farm many times before it went to market. And ever since this whole drama about who's getting those acres began, Zach and Matt have been at odds, and Zach's been pretty vocal about his feelings about the whole situation. I mean, he called Matt manipulative and said that this is a whole new low of, cowardice, and he's been clearly trying to paint his dad as unreasonable, even though it's him who wasn't willing to pay the money Matt asked for. And one person that seems to be on Zach's side in this whole argument is, unsurprisingly, Matt's ex-wife, Amy, and she said that Matt should have taken the higher road as a father, and she also called him grinding and said that she wasn't surprised by what had happened because dealing with Matt can be tough. But at the same time, Amy said that she didn't know a lot of details about the negotiation between Zach and Matt. So how much does she really know? Is it just what Zach's told her? Because let's be honest, that might have been, not the entire truth. And it seems pretty obvious that Matt really wanted to keep the farm in the family, so it's unlikely that he wouldn't have tried to negotiate with Zach. And clearly, Zach just wasn't willing to spend that much money on the farm, and even though that's what it's actually worth. So guys, this is the truth on the negotiation, as far as we can tell, with Matt selling the farm to Zach and all the drama in between. So guys, like always, please do me a huge favor. If you enjoyed this video, please go down in the comments below, hit the comments, like, follow, share, subscribe button, and y'all better stay tuned for many more videos.